Okay, picture this. It's literally like the opening scene of an intense anime. The wind is absolutely howling across Haneda Airport, and you have this confident IT engineer, guy's 8 years into his career, standing right at the edge of the tarmac. He's about to step into the global arena for the very first time. Now, he thinks he knows exactly how systems are built, right? He's a pro. But man, he is about to face a massive reality check. In today's Explainer, we're diving into a fascinating first-hand account of a Japanese engineer's business trip to London. We're going to uncover why the absolute biggest hurdle in global IT actually isn't the language barrier at all. It's a profound shift in mindset. Let's get into it.
What scared me more than English was the global standard design philosophy. Just imagine reading that as a tense inner monologue, like a voice echoing in our protagonist's head. This is the realization that completely, totally shattered his prior assumptions. Going into this trip, he honestly thought the language barrier would be the ultimate boss fight. But as we're going to see, it was a totally different approach to design that actually put his confidence to the test.
Okay, let's dive into this. Section 1, the status quo, a confident architecture expert. So, to really appreciate the impact of this journey, we kind of have to look at where he started. Our guy is an 8th-year professional. He isn't just someone who sits and writes code all day. His expertise is really in the big picture, the overall architecture. He's the engineer connecting complex business operations with the actual IT infrastructure. And within his domestic IT landscape back in Japan, he is perfectly comfortable, highly capable. He's worked on systems that are actively used in society. So in his mind, this London trip is basically just a confirmation exercise, right? A routine mission to evaluate a system, see how it's used, and bring that knowledge back home. But the whole vibe shifts into high gear the literal moment he arrives at the airport. Boarding ANA Premium Economy from Haneda, that represents a huge boundary line for him. Until this trip, he didn't even know Premium Economy existed. It's just a slightly wider seat, maybe a bit further forward in the cabin, but suddenly, he's surrounded by these intense business people popping open laptops in the lounge, English announcements echoing everywhere. The tension becomes palpable. This is definitely not a vacation. This is that heavy, stomach-dropping tension of an international business trip. The realization that he is finally standing at the very entrance to global IT. As the plane is speeding down the runway, he looks out the window and notices something that becomes this powerful visual metaphor. He wonders, why did the airplane wing look so unnaturally light and fragile? It looked thin, unstable even. But at that exact same moment, it hit him. This lightness is exactly what it means to fly into the world. You're leaving behind that heavy, rigid safety of what you know. Hey, real quick, speaking of stepping into the unknown, if you have ever felt that wild mix of excitement and tension when stepping into a brand new challenge, hit the like button and subscribe to join us on this journey. Start 2000 past.
All right, Section 2, a shocking document discovery.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is the contrast. While the physical flight itself was super smooth, the mental turbulence really kicked in when he started reviewing the advanced system manuals for his London meetings. He could read the English just fine, and the tech terminology was totally familiar, but something felt fundamentally off. He quickly realized the real challenge wasn't the English language at all. It was the entire approach, the whole atmosphere of the documentation. The domestic documents he was so used to back home, they often read almost like a personal explanation written directly by the developer, heavily focused on who built it and the internal nitty-gritty mechanics. But the London materials? Totally different beast. They were organized like a finalized product, honestly kind of like a manual you'd get with commercial off-the-shelf software. The entire focus shifted away from the creator and directly onto the user. It was all about how it should be used. This was a complete mind-bending paradigm shift in communication for him. And this builds right into the climax of his realization. This right here is where the true global standard design philosophy really shows its face. In the domestic environment, systems often rely incredibly heavily on the dedication, the sheer willpower of the local team. Sure, they're highly detailed, amazing quality, but they suffer from major individual dependency. The overseas systems he encountered in London, though, they are engineered from day one with the assumption of change. They're built to survive organizational restructuring so that literally anyone from any country can step in and take over at a moment's notice. Which brings us to a highly critical concept, the internal optimization trap. This happens when you've got this supposedly high-quality system, but it only functions properly because a very specific, hyper-dedicated local team is there to prop it up. The trap here is that it turns dependency on specific individuals into what feels like a virtue.
It feels powerful in the short term, like you have these tech heroes, but it is deeply, deeply dangerous for long-term survival on a global scale. Actually, quick question for you all. If your workplace heavily relies on a specific local team or a single hero employee just to survive, let us know by subscribing and dropping a like. Clip thumbs up. Now, let's see how our engineer figures out the solution.
Moving on to Section 3, beyond just English skills.
So, the crucial point is, having recognized this internal optimization trap, our protagonist was looking at a brand new paradigm. Look, there's this deeply ingrained myth out there that surviving a global IT project just means brushing up on your English skills, right? Doing some vocabulary exercises or whatever. But as our engineer discovers, standing in the financial district of London, vocabulary and grammar, that's literally just the baseline. To actually succeed, you have to go way, way beyond just language fluency. The real job of an engineer in a global project is translating design philosophy. You aren't just translating words on a page, you are translating intent. You have to step back and ask the much deeper questions. Why is the structure designed this way in the first place? Why are the responsibilities divided across teams like this? Why do these specific operational rules even exist? If you don't understand the why behind the architecture, well, you're really nothing more than a basic language translator, rather than a fully functioning global engineer. And this brilliantly illustrates his ultimate awakened realization. He says, developing a system and building social infrastructure are completely different abilities. This is the exact moment he truly levels up. He realizes that making some code work on a local machine, that is just the absolute beginning. Building a system that actually functions as resilient social infrastructure, something capable of outlasting the very people who build it, that requires a completely different mindset. It's the evolution from just being a capable local developer to becoming a true visionary global architect. So, as we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with a really lingering challenge. Think back to that fragile airplane wing at the beginning of the journey. The source material asks such a powerful question. Are your values built entirely within your domestic environment, ready to be thrown into the sky? It's a super provocative thought, isn't it? It urges all of us, honestly, no matter what industry we're in, to evaluate our own professional readiness. Are you building just for your local team right now, or are you actually designing for the global standard? Just something to think about the next time you kick off a project. Thanks so much for joining me on this journey today.